The opinions expressed in this show are the views of the host and not necessarily that of WTRW, 94.3 The Talker, or the Bold Gold Media Group.
The following presentation is brought to you by the host of the program, who is solely responsible for its content.
All Century 21 real estate offices are independently owned and operated.
Good morning, I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker of Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable on 94.3 FM The Talker. I am here with my husband, co-host, fellow realtor, Pat Devaney.
Good morning, Jackie. How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Today, we have the Grebs, Brian and Ryan Greb, owners of Greb Insurance Agency. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning, Jackie.
Thanks for being here with us. We're here every Saturday at 11 a.m., Sunday at 11:30 a.m., where we cover many real estate topics. We're a full-time real estate office with many exceptional realtors. We have been listing, selling, and appraising real estate for nearly 50 years.
Wow, 50 years. During the week, feel free to email us with any questions you have at questions@jruddy.com. That's questions@jruddy.com. Or you can give us a call at 570-344-6724. And when you're at jruddy.com, click on the webcam tab and see what the interesting weather is like at Dunmore Corners.
It's very helpful. Before I, go out for the day, I want to know what's going on and see the road conditions.
We get thousands of hits a month on that webcam from all over the world. It's amazing.
View our listings, search the MLS listings, and listen to archive radio shows by going to mobilefriendlyjruddy.com, JRUDDY.com, and look us up on social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. Okay. Brian and Ryan Greb. You're a family-owned business, Greb Insurance Agency, located in the West Scranton part of town. Tell me about how long you've been doing this, how long the company was there. Ryan's your grandfather started it, correct?
Right. My grandfather started it, and probably my father's better to speak to that. But yes, we've been, I believe, when did we start?
The agency was established in April of 62, and we've been in West Side all that time. We had a few moves just to Main Avenue, and we've been in the Scranton area for all those years.
So Ryan's third generation, and Nancy,
Correct.
your wife, is also a big part of the agency.
She is.
All right, good. Mm-hmm. We like family-owned and operated, don't we, Pat?
Yes, dear.
Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about insurance today and how it relates to homeownership. Let's talk about, there's been a big change in our area. Let's start the show by talking about the flood insurance these days. We're not going to talk about it all the show, but let's touch on what's happening out there. There's a lot of misconceptions with flood insurance. There was a lot of people that they redid the maps. And so there are people that were not in a flood zone before that now find themselves in a flood zone. But we want to talk about what are some of the myths and misconceptions out there that people have regarding flood insurance.
Most of the time, people are purchasing the flood insurance because they're told by the bank that they have to. But it is very important for everyone to look into and consider the flood insurance. But it is an overflow of a body of water or so many acres that flood. So you do need to know what your risk is. Ask your agent, have him check the flood zones for you, even if your bank does not require you to do that, because flood insurance is very important and certainly can be devastating if that happens to you.
So when you take on water, and it's usually comes into the house and floods a basement, and so then usually the furnace can be
correct. Correct.
Like
Everything in the basement is usually to the point that it can't be replaced. Furnace, hot water heater. Sometimes if it gets high enough, the electrical would be affected in the house. So that gets very costly to replace. And the normal homeowner's policy that you buy would exclude that from coverage. So you wouldn't get that from a normal homeowner's policy.
So when someone calls your company and has homeowner insurance, what do you typically do? Do you go out to the property? Do you look at it as an insurance person?
As our main carrier is Erie, they do require that we do an exterior inspection, take some photographs and some square foot measurements. As our agency, we do an interior inspection on all of them. We like to get in and take a look at the electrical and the furnace, see how old it is, see what the condition of the property on the inside is. You'd be surprised a lot when you go into somebody's house, especially when you get into their basement and you see what conditions they're in. We've gone into homes that have stacked boxes and clothes on their furnace itself. So you get an idea of what's going on in the house much more by getting in, especially the rental properties too. The tenants don't seem to take a lot of care of these properties when you get in, even though the landlord on the outside makes everything beautiful. So we do like to do interior inspections on all of the properties, and that does usually involve getting the realtor involved to have them come and open up the house for us. So we're in touch with the realtors quite often to go do those inspections.
So what is your position if a property has, from an insurance perspective, sometimes there's properties that have mold and knob and tube wiring or lower amp electrical boxes, panels like 60 amps, or like there's uneven sidewalks? What do you require? What does Erie, not so much you, but what would Erie insurance require?
Every company has its own underwriting guidelines. So they'll say you need to have 100 amp electrical service. You can't have knob and tube. So when we go out and find that, and a lot of the insureds, or if they're just buying the house, they might not even know that to answer those questions. So when we go out and find that, we usually give them the option, if they are going to make the repair in a timely manner, then that would be okay. We would get something before the closing from a contractor saying when the job would be complete. So it's not that we can't insure those properties. It's just that they need to be addressed. Something like a railing or uneven sidewalks, again, not a big deal as long as it's going to be addressed. Now, if the homeowner doesn't want to do that, we come to people with porches or decks that they don't want to put a railing on. They like the way the house looks. If it's high enough, and we would have to deny writing the policy. And that's good because we do our inspection ahead of time. Some companies will write the policy, then they will go out and find these problems and say you have 60 days to fix it or your policy's canceled. So I feel like it's better the way that we do it, so we address it up front.
Yeah, that just happened to my mom. She got a letter in the mail, and apparently someone was out and they said that she had to have her roof cleaned.
Right. She had the moss growing up on the roof, and it looked like a putting green up there. And they said that you have to go and get it taken care of, or they were going to cancel her insurance. That's what they told her.
Yeah, she sent her in a full-fledged panic. She complied and had that it done within a week, but it made her nervous nevertheless. She's older. Things like that are unnerving.
All of which are to avoid a claim and hopefully to keep premiums at a minimum.
It's hard to find somebody that cleans roofs, believe it or not. It's not an easy task. We had a couple companies that said that they would come out and we never even saw them. So that was a little difficult, but we did get it done and everything is good now. So what happens when you have a long-standing policy? Someone that's been insured with you has an older home, and they've had a policy with you since 1962, since you opened your doors. Do you go in and check their electrical service or their conditions of the property?
We don't.
No.
If it's existing, then again, it's grandfathered in, and again, they're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just on these new policies that you're writing where you would go. So if somebody's buying a home.
Right, we would have to do all new homes. The only time we would get into a situation where an existing property is if they already had a loss, and an adjuster went out to the property and said they had a kitchen, a leak in their kitchen, but their sidewalks are really bad, or their roof is half off the house, where the adjuster would point out to us that there's a major problem. But we wouldn't go and look at their electrical again and look at their furnace again. Once we wrote the policy, we underwritten the policy to begin with, then they're set. they're good to go from there, unless there's a major problem.
Unless there's a loss, which would bring you back out there.
Which we might have to go back.
Might have to be multiple losses of the same nature that would have some indicator to make us go back out.
Okay, so tell me this. If you have an insurance policy in place on a home, they're selling their home. Buyer just wants to keep with the status quo and continue with you. How does that work? You've already insured the property. Does it make it seamless?
A home protector policy can't be assigned, so it would require a new policy.
They do some consumer reports anymore, so they will check the new owner's claims history, and they will do an insurance score, which is kind of newer to the industry, but it does take aspects of a credit report and pulls those aspects in and is part of the rating for all companies now. They say they can relate those back to future losses. So we can't assign an older policy to a new person because they have to do those checks on the new person too.
Now, do you have to go out to that property even though you've been insuring it because it's a new policy?
We would. We would want to have updated photos and make sure that the condition of the home is still the way it was when we wrote it to begin with.
So my credit score figures into what my insurance premiums are going to be?
That's a good question. And people will call and say, well, my credit score is great. Why are you telling me about that? Or why isn't my rate lower? So there's certain aspects of your credit report that they statistically can relate back to a better or worse loss ratio. Whether we buy into that totally ourselves, do we like having to tell people about that? We don't get the score even to tell you have a good score or a bad score. It's just a factor in the rating of the policy.
So they run your credit. Also, each property, like you said, there's a history that's assigned to each property. So say I want to go and I'm going to buy 1 Main Street and I need insurance. You'll go and you'll see a history of the claims for that property?
Claims on a homeowner's or an auto policy are entered into a database. And when we run the check, not only on the person that's buying the home, but on the property, it'll show us the losses. So if there's been 3 wind claims in the last 5 years, well, we want to know, did you put a new roof on? So we could look at those things, yeah.
How long back does this history go?
5 years.
5 years? Okay.
With us today are Brian and Ryan Greb of the Greb Insurance Agency. Missing, though, from our meeting today, from our recording, is Nancy. Nancy, who is Brian's wife and a big part of your business, family-owned business.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
So can I have
She's manning the fort today.
All right. Well, you have to have someone there, right? What do you say,
You do.
Pat? What do you say about a family-owned business?
It's like the mafia. You can't get out. I've been trying to get fired for years.
Yes.
I feel like Michael Corleone. Once I get out, they pull me back in. You know
Well,
what I mean?
some days, you might not realize this, but some days you're closer to that wish than you will ever know. Okay. Can I have some contact information for you, please?
Sure. Our address is 902 South Main Avenue in Scranton, right in West Side. Our phone number is 570-343-7898, and our website is www.grebins.com.
And you're on social media as well.
We are on Facebook, yes. Not as many platforms as you guys are, but we are on Facebook.
All right, great. And you give free quotes.
Free quotes. Free quotes are always free. There's no obligation to buy. So we do like people to stop in or call on the phone and go over. If by some chance we can't save money, then we'll at least be able to discuss coverages and review the policy with you. So,
And you offer all types of insurance. Car, life, homeowners.
mine subsidence, flood. We also do commercial policies. So we'll do commercial auto policies, very popular small contractors. Erie has a great policy for the small to middle-sized contractors. So we would also do commercial lines along with the personal lines.
All right, great. And you've been serving our community since 1962. Good.
Correct.
All right. Pat, would you like to review a listing, please?
Yes, we have a very well-maintained 3-unit property at 401 Hickory Street in Peckville for $139,000. This lovely home is owner-occupied with the long-term tenant. There are 2 two-bedroom apartments and a one-bedroom apartment. The taxes are very reasonable. It's less than $2,000 a year. All the units have separate utilities, and this home is in the Valley View School District. It has a low-maintenance yard, off-street parking, and this would be a great investment opportunity, or you could live in one unit and have the rents pay the mortgage. That's a well-maintained 3-unit at 401 Hickory Street in Peckville for $139,000, and that's listed by Gail Lewis of our office.
Thank you. I got a kick out of this. I have strange but true real estate laws. Listen to this. They're on the books. They're not rigorously enforced, but they are still part of the law in some states. Arkansas law states that 6 or more females may not live at the same property, regardless of their relationship. So realtors out there get to sell 2 homes, right? Washington law prohibits anyone from killing a Sasquatch.
Yeah, I know. I got a friend of mine, Jim Seaman. He's chasing the Sasquatch. He's always looking for them.
You know what it is then?
Yo, I know what it is.
All right.
It's Bigfoot.
Right. So rural properties might be on the never list. People might not be looking for because of this law in Washington. They might want to live in a rural area, right? Okay. Rhode Island limits, listen to this, the height of the residential fences that you can put up. Can only be 6 feet. All right?
I'd like to put up some 12-foot fences.
Yeah, well, go higher in my book. So in Rhode Island, you may not want a skinny dip, okay? Because your neighbors might see what you're doing. And in New Jersey, they prohibit exterior house painting on Sundays. You can't. It's a law. You can't,
okay.
Right? All right. Well, it's not
I had to call
enforced.
the cops on him. He's out there painting his window panes.
Well, some husband out there from New Jersey that listening to this show gets to get out of the honeydew list, all right? Because the law states that they don't have to paint.
He won't be doing it in January anyway.
Well, especially during football season, right? You can't do that. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM. The Talker will be right back.
The talented team of professionals at Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. They're not just real estate agents, they're agents of change. They're on a never-ending quest for the best for you and your family. They can help you find precisely what you want at this time in your life. A computer, a website, an app, and a listing by itself can't do that. They're obsessed with better and deliver extraordinary, embracing the what if, not just the what's been done before, with a level of accountability and honesty not found anywhere else in the real estate industry. Don't settle for average, okay, or just all right. This change in your life is monumental, and there's only one Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate that will help you rock that change. Call 570-344-6724 and visit jruddy.com, JRUDDY.com. Each Century 21 office is independently owned and operated.
You're rejoining the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker in with my husband, fellow realtor Pat Devaney.
And we're back.
And we're back with the Grebs, Brian and Ryan Greb of the Greb Insurance Agency. Hello.
Hello again.
Hi.
We're having a great discussion about homeowners insurance. And when somebody goes, say a new buyer goes in a new first-time home buyer, and they're getting a mortgage, so they have to have homeowners insurance. What's the advice you would give them when they call you for their homeowners insurance policy?
The most important thing for a new home buyer, or really any homeowner, is to talk with their agent. Sit down, review the coverages, review the exclusions, go over any unique items that you might have or feel as though you have, items of jewelry, boats, collections of playing cards or or other collectibles. We just had a guy call us up. He collected board games and Star Wars collectibles. And we talked through it and got appropriate coverage, because some of those items he can't just go out and pull off the shelf again. So the most important thing that you can do is to sit down with your agent and spend a little bit of time going over your situation and the coverages and the exclusions, and whether or not at the end of the day you add anything to the policy or take away anything from the policy. At least you feel more comfortable that you are covered the way that you want to be, and the important things are addressed by your policy. So that is the most important thing that we can tell your listeners to do, is to open up a discussion with your agents.
Okay, and what about some type of insurance for the mortgage? Because there's private mortgage insurance, which the bank requires when there's a mortgage with less than 20% down usually. And there's different types of insurance that they also present to the buyer at closing, types of insurance that they offer through the bank. Not just, they have to have the private mortgage insurance, but say somebody passes away to pay off the mortgage. Is that something that somebody at the closing table should be thinking about?
We like to quote every homeowner's policy with some type of life insurance. Everybody's busy. They're trying to get through the closing, making sure that the home is ready and you're moving out. And they don't want to put another thing on the table, but it's the perfect time to get some life insurance. You're trying to protect your house from a claim, but if God forbid something were to happen to the breadwinner of the home, or some people think that way, but what happens if the stay-at-home mom or dad was no longer there, and the one that has to go to work every day now needs to send the kids to daycare? They need to have a nanny take care of them. So it's important for everyone to have life insurance, because you don't want to lose that property that you just bought because you can no longer pay for it if, God forbid, something happens to one of the owners.
So what's the difference between your life insurance policy and maybe what the bank is presenting the buyers?
With your policy through Erie, you would own the policy. You could manage the policy as you desire. And again, there may be some situations where you would not want to pay off the mortgage or just partially pay off the mortgage. Again, there's a situation where maybe there are two people working and you're down to one income. So again, there's many situations
options,
where you can, again, manage your policy and do with it what you wish.
Most of the time when you bought it through the bank or the mortgage company, they would pay themselves off first, and you'd be left with whatever balance there was. But most situations, you might not want to. You might want to have some money for final expenses and put some college money away for the kids instead of paying that mortgage off. So going through a company like Erie, and Erie also does offer multi-line discounts. So if you have your life insurance, you have your auto and your home with us, you would get a discount on those policies. So it's very competitive to go with who you might have your other personal lines with also.
I want to get back to what you were talking about, the homeowner's insurance. Say I have a collection of trains, or I have a collection of antique guns or something like that. What's the best way to document these things? What should I do? Should I have all the serial numbers written down? What's the way? How do you do this?
The more documentation, the better. You could take pictures, but again, yes, serial numbers, makes, models, things of that nature are all helpful. We're not saying that things are excluded, but they may very well be limited to the policy as far as the type of claim, whether that be a theft claim. Again, you would have coverages for those items if it were to be a fire, something along those lines.
And some items might not be limited by the policy, like your train collection, but you can't replace them. So the policy is designed to, if you lost a train, to go out and replace it with another one. That's what it's designed to do. But you might not be able to do that. It might be one of a kind or something that you're not able to go out and get, and you want the cash for it. Well, then you would need to have documentation, how much it's worth, and they would pay you based on that.
I was told by an insurance agent once that I should walk around the house with a video camera and just kind of take a look of everything that's inside the house. Now, you were talking about valuations and stuff like that. I remember my dad had a policy. He lived down on the ocean, and during Hurricane Sandy, he got 2 feet of water in the house. He had $100,000 worth of flood insurance. He got that. And all the contents and everything were gone. I mean, we'd spoken about this, that the roof, none of the other stuff was covered. Just the only thing that paid off was the flood insurance. But he got new insurance after that, and I had looked at the policy, and he was actually way, way overinsured for his contents. He had like $200,000 worth of insurance for contents. And I guarantee you, he did not have $200,000 worth of contents.
On the policy, and the guidelines for every company are a little bit different, but in order to have replacement cost on your personal property, you need to have a certain percentage of the dwelling. So if you have a $400,000 or $500,000 home, your personal property needs to be usually at least 60% or more of your dwelling value. Most of the time, it's even higher than that, maybe 75 or 80% that they will give you of the dwelling value. So you can't, let's say, just choose an arbitrary figure and say, I want $100,000 worth of personal property coverage. It is part of the co-insurance clause of the policy, how much you need to carry on it. A lot of times we get I don't have any other structures. So if you look at your homeowners, it's the dwelling, it's other structures, personal property. And somebody will say, I don't have $40,000 worth of other structures. I only have a small shed out there. Again, that other structures coverage on the policies are part of the homeowner's policy. Normally they're 10% or like with Erie, they're 20% of the dwelling's value that you have to carry.
We're out of time, and we had the Grebs. We had a very enjoyable discussion with you, Brian and Ryan Greb from Greb Insurance Agency. Would you come back next week? Absolutely. Sure. Yes, this was fun.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Before we close, would you give me your contact information, please?
Sure. We're in Westside, 902 South Main Avenue in Scranton. Our phone number is 570-343-7898. And our website is www.grebins.com.
Thank you. Pat?
Yes, we have a lovely 2-bedroom home at 2220 Caphouse Avenue in the Green Ridge section of Scranton for $104,000. This ranch-style home is in move-in condition. It has gorgeous hardwood floors. It has new kitchen cabinets, and the home has just been freshly painted. This cozy home also has a detached garage and a low-maintenance fenced-in yard. That's a move-in condition, 2-bedroom ranch-style home at 2220 Caphouse Avenue in Scranton for $104,000, and that's listed by Paul Mackerel of our office.
Thank you, Pat. You're going to love this information. This is Building Trends Inspired by Hipsterbia Generation.
What by who?
Okay, you listen and you're going to find out.
Hipsters, oh, geez.
All right, as millennials become parents.
The hipsters eat foo-foo food.
You may want to define foo-foo, but not right now.
That's avocado toast.
Okay. As millennials become parents, they're trading in their urban dwellings for a house in the burbs.
Ugh.
Did you ever think you'd see the day?
No.
I didn't either. But this generation isn't ready to give up city life just yet. They're looking for affordability as well as walkable dining, shopping, and jobs. This movement is called Hipsterbia.
Uh-huh. Oh, God.
And it's one of the major themes identified in the emerging trends in real estate for 2020.
Brooklyn is hipsterbia.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
The live, work, play formula builders used to revive downtowns decades ago is now being used in the suburbs. Hipsterbia communities are often built near large anchor communities. What are they building, Pat? Two-story, multi-story, and high-rise properties. Builders see this as their success in hipsterbia's growing neighborhoods.
I hope Dunmore never becomes hipsterbia.
We're out of time. Thanks for tuning into the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Remember to tune in next Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 11:30 a.m. on 94.3 FM The Talker.